Manuscript Screening Boy and Manuscript Submitting Girl surprised me in more ways than one. But first, what is it about? Kazetani Ao is responsible for selecting works that'll go through the first stage of screening for a light novel newcomer competition. Among the submissions sent to him, however, was a manuscript from his classmate, Hinomiya Yuki. Ao would never expect the unapproachable Ice Maiden to write such quirky manuscript with extensive use of sound effects and varying font size. Later on, Ao approaches the class beauty to talk about it. Turns out Hyuki has never made it through the first stage of screening and wrote her 5th manuscript that way based on the feedback on her previous submission. Eventually, she ends up asking Ao to teach her how to write a better manuscript. At first glance, Ao might seem like another bland main character with little to no personality. However, that was not the case. He's very passionate about reading, not just for professional works but also ones by amateurs. He enjoys seeing the wide range of writing abilities, the ideas behind them even when they are poorly executed, and the sometimes hard to read prints. He can always find good points in each manuscript he reads, and the writing here conveys his excitement wonderfully. Not once did I feel that his enthusiasm for reading was excessive. I was also pleasantly surprised by Hyuki's character. Initially, I didn't find her to be very likable because she was acting cold towards Ao, even though he was helping her write her next manuscript. However, starting with chapter 3, we get to see why she acts the way she does and watch her gradual growth. Even so, I still wish it happened sooner. While the cover might give the impression of a romance-focused story, that isn't accurate. It's more about the personal growth of Ao and Hyuki as individuals. They're both flawed, they feel insecure of their own shortcomings when around each other. At first, it seems like Ao doesn't have any worries, but he realizes some things after he starts talking with Hyuki. Has any of his feedback hurt someone, like another screeners has hurt Hyuki? Is he needed by Hyuki at all outside their manuscript business, and so on. I really appreciate their believable character developments throughout the story. There's also a meta-narrative going on here, where the manuscript they work on is in parallel to their own story. I think it's done tastefully here, not too in-your-face where it hurts the main story, but I can definitely see it taking away from the experience for others. Needless to say, I found the story did many things well. However, I have 2 things I'd like to mention. First, I wish it took more time with the closure. It feels like the resolution should have a few more pages. Also, the epilogue is definitely way too short. It's essentially a single page. Second, which I don't mind personally, is that the story plays out in a mostly predictable way. If you want something more than solid characters and their developments, you might want to look elsewhere. Overall, Manuscript Screening Boy and Manuscript Submitting Girl is an enjoyable read. It offers great characterizations and an insight into the process of writing a story. It might not have strong emotional moments, and the meta-narrative aspect may or may not appeal to you. However, I think it's still a worthwhile read for its believable character developments.